Welcome everyone. Today we have our another new episode, and this episode is very important, and we have our honorable guest from USA, Mr. James Eid, and James Eid has very good experience, especially his foundation working in Africa, and they are actually really help the developing nations, and they are our partner for World Talent Economy Forum. Hopefully we will solve many local and international problem with the collaboration of World Talent Economy Forum and James Eid Foundation. So, Mr. Jamsid, how are you today? How do you want to analyze today's topic, especially waste management?
Oh, I'm great, and I appreciate you being invited onto your show, Sharif. Your shows have always been educational, but if I'm your only guest, I probably won't learn too much. The idea, the idea of the two of us talking is a delight, and the subject of waste management is a critical one. What we focus on in the African nations that I do work with. Is water purification, water sanitation, and sometimes that is part of the waste management. But the general overall topic, I maybe you have three R's. I have three R's. It's reduce, recycle, and remake. Right now, we have islands of plastic in the Pacific Ocean. This is unacceptable. Can we utilize other things than plastic? We were a consumer-based society. We were designed to discard and then buy again. And that was to promote capitalist way of living, to make more money. Now, money is not as important as air. Money is not as important as water. Money is not as important excuse me, just a second, as food. So there are essentials to life, and money is not one of them. Now, money is only important if you don't have it, because then you can't buy food, you can't shelter from the storm. These are things that money is good for. But that's just currency in exchange for something else, and it has no intrinsic value on its own. Bright, shiny objects are good to look at, but you don't eat them, you don't breathe them. So when we make so much plastic, we're doing
Mm.
something that's not good for the planet. It's not good for humanity, and it's not biodegradable. So it
Mhm.
doesn't go away. So we have to remake the things that we store into containers with something other than plastic, something that can be reused, recycled, or remade and can be biodegradable, so that it does not last. It does not form oceans in islands in the river, islands in the oceans. And this is the most important thing. And yes, solid waste management is also part of this, but we want to reduce our consumption of the things that are just not good for the planet. Reduce our need to consume, because don't we don't need what we want. And if we
Mhm.
focus on what we need rather than on what we want, we will be able to live together in a healthier planet. We will be healthier people in a healthier planet. And I think that's all something we can agree is desirable.
Mhm. Mhm. Thank you. Actually, there is some of the data. I love some data, because this kind of data actually helpful for our discussion. It's a World Bank data, and according to World Bank, actually, if we find that in year 2016, 2030, and 2050, so in Middle East, Sub-Saharan, Latin America, North America, South Asia, Europe and Central Asia, East Asia, and Pacific, everywhere actually waste actually increasing. This is actually millions of tons per year. Middle East in 2016 was 123 million ton per in 2016. It will be 2030 177, and in year 2050 it will be 255 millions of ton everywhere. And we are observing South Asia, their waste will be uh, increasing around 661 million ton, and in East Asia Pacific their their waste will be 714 million tons. So East Asia, Asia Pacific, it will be highest. It will be highest in year 2050. 50. But it's actually World Bank report. And beside that, like if we see that waste collection rates by income level, actually high income level, they are actually collecting waste 96%, middle income or upper middle income 92%, lower middle income 51%, and low income 39%.
What?
These are, yes,
Let me
yes.
stop you there, Sharif. What is that term? I want to know what the terms you're using. Waste collection. What does that mean? Does that mean
Yeah. Basically, like let's say, uh, example in Singapore, in Asia Pacific, Singapore is a developed country. So Singapore, whatever they produced, they actually collect a lot. Okay, they collect their waste, as well as they are actually go for waste management process, waste to energy, or they utilizing their waste. So Singapore, country like Singapore, even Malaysia actually, if we compare with Singapore, they are also good, I think. USA also doing a good work in some extent. But example, developing nations, these are the information that actually the lower middle income country and low income country, these are the things. So
so? The
we
higher
need
the number, the better. That means you're
exactly.
doing it. Yes. Okay.
Yes. But basically, if we focus on example, if we take as a good example, Singapore actually doing a very good work with their waste collections, waste management, and everything. So that is the factor. Why actually World Talent Economy Forum we are working. We are working because we need to create awareness, not only the technology. Let's say waste management. This is very important things. I know example, country like Bangladesh, they have a huge problem with the waste management things. Even waste to energy and this kind of things is very, very, very difficult because of they do not have proper uh, like distribution channels and everything. So I think this is highest time we need to create more awareness. So that's why I want to give you a special thanks, because this is very critical topic and you are joining with us. Yes, Mr. James, what do you want to add? Because you are in USA, what's going on inside USA? Especially, let's say you live in California, how you manage your waste, and what is the awareness and other things? And especially, we are also believe in climate change. So, what is the present situation right now?
Well, this is not my area of expertise, but I do think that California is one of the leaders in the awareness of collection, and the citizens of California have bought into this to a high degree. That this is very important. We have our towns and municipalities and cities have all got recycling programs so that we collect the waste and we recycle it rather than dumping it into a large uh, facility where you just collect the garbage, the things that do not biodegrade. And so we take and reuse um, to a large extent in California. Now, if you want, you talk about the United States, there's 50 of them. So you could look at each state and see, and you could do your graph for each of these states, and they will be different. Some numbers will be lower, some numbers will be higher. California is also a high income state. So you go to some of the lower income states, and you may not see both either the collection of the waste or the awareness. Now, this is not a good or bad. This is not judging people as far as their worth. What it is the awareness that this is a big issue. And it's easier to collect and sort waste if you have a roof over your head, food on your table, and you don't have the daily worries that some other people do because they just don't have the energy or mental cycles to spend on worrying about things like that when they're worried about putting food on their table. So this is a luxury problem. In the old days, that's what we would think of it. But now is we're accumulating so much waste that it is becoming a global problem and it needs a global solution. And it sounds to me from your graph that Southeast Asia is leading the way. And we should look to them and what they're doing rather than to the United States and what we're doing. You seem to be ahead of the game in terms of collecting your waste and then sorting it and disposing of it or reusing it appropriately. And we need to think about the appropriate use of our waste and to not make as much waste as we have done in the past. And that is a problem in the United States, in every state, is that we're consumer oriented. We want to consume, and we have only recently begun, relatively recently begun, to worry about what are we throwing away.
Mhm,
And because it's surfacing in islands of plastic in the ocean, this cannot be sustained. So
mhm.
this is a recent awareness, and the awareness is growing. And I don't know if I, just because I live here, but I think California is one of the leading states in this.
Mhm, mhm. Excellent. I want to add two more graph because this may can help us to understand more the market situation, like
Right.
the real situation of the country. I don't know you like this kind of graph or not, but
Yes, I
it
do.
may be. Yes, yes. Thank you. So global treatment and disposable of waste. This is very important because now healthcare system moving very, 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 very like in a dynamic way, and most important thing is that they have lot of waste right now, but we are
Yes,
observing composing 33%,
it's good.
uh, sanitary landfills it's a 13.5%, open dump this is I think not good,
Yeah,
it's 5.5%.
right.
So other is 33%. So I think we
Oh,
need to be very, and recycling.
25.2.
Yes, recycling also happening, but
Yes.
I think that hospitals waste and the healthcare system waste, this is actually growing very fast right now, and we need to be very much careful. And beside that, global waste compositions, and we find fruit and grain. This is actually 44 from food industry, 44%, and lowest is I think from paper and cardboard, it's a 2%, and metal is 2%, 4%. So anyway, there are many sources. We are actually growing our waste. We There are different kind of waste actually adding in our what should I say, in our communities. But I think that, what do you think, because your foundation is very excellent foundation, you are working with developing nation, especially African community, and you are working with youth community. I just want to know how you create awareness to the youth.
Well, this is a wonderful question because it's not a topic that we address in our school systems. You know, our school systems are way behind the times in what we educate the young on. And so this is why I introduced chess, because chess teaches kids to sit still and think, and it teaches them to avoid, to postpone immediate gratification. It teaches them life skills. And one of the life skills that we're not teaching the child is how to be sustainable, how to consume less and take care of your waste. There's no class in our educational systems on this. So they don't get taught this. Perhaps their parents teach them at home. Perhaps their friends teach them, you know, because this is one thing that I always say: you work on yourself first and those in your sphere of influence next, and who knows where it will end. And the idea is that if you can make a spark of awareness in any community, it can grow. And so, but what we do is systematically ignore this when we're teaching our young. And we need to build this awareness into our curriculums, which we have not done. And I don't see it on the horizon. So what we must do is to find another way to reach them, because our educational schooling system has failed us in this department. So we must find them another way. And we find what's successful with reaching the youth is to make it fun, to let them think that they're having fun, that they're playing. Like in chess, they think they're on recess, they're playing a game, but they're learning while they're doing it. So this is the thing to do, is to make these educational programs, entertainment programs. Edutainment is a word that's been coined recently, fairly recently. And the idea is that kids will learn if they're having fun while
Mhm,
they're learning. So package this in a way that kids will absorb it, not
mhm,
in a not in a classroom setting, pointing to a point by point on the blackboard. No, man, make a video, make a TikTok presentation. I don't know what TikTok is really. I never used it, but that's what kids are using now. So meet them where they're at, and have something that's educational, but also entertaining. So what is Waste Point 2.0? Make that a fun video,
mhm,
and you will reach the youth.
mhm. Even awareness actually main important things, I believe,
Yes.
because this kind of waste environmental thing, green things, green environment, green cultures, and we need to create lot of awareness for this grassroots level, especially the developing nations, how you working. Mr. James, like I know you are personally very good man, you are kind heart, and you have a visionary things. I just want to know another things, like when you work with these developing nations, let's say Africa or other country like Asia, so do you face any challenges, like how you face different kind of challenges? Maybe we can interlink with this waste management project development, or how we can overcome from the situation.
Um, to answer the question that you asked, I think that my biggest difficulty is in securing transfer of funds. This is a difficulty that I face in different countries. Different countries have different rules. And so I can do a bank account transfer to some countries, and some countries I cannot. So I have to figure out ways of getting money to different places and learn their local rules, the community that they live in, what rules apply. Um, and for example, I can send money to Uganda, or I can send equipment to Uganda, which is really what I do. Um, and there might be a tax, or there might be a tariff, there might be some other charge that they have to cough up the money to pay. And if they don't have the money to pay, they won't release the goods. So then I have to get the money to them to pay for the goods that we've shipped them. And so then they don't take a bank transfer. So these are the kinds of complexities that you're working with different governments playing by different rules. And it's not the same. It's not like chess where you're all playing by the same rules. You're playing by a whole bunch of different rules, and learning the rules of the local communities and playing by them has been the biggest challenge for me.
Mhm, mhm. Excellent. Beside that, I love to learn more about US culture, because example, you are from USA and you are from California. So California has a lot of innovations, lot of things. Do you find any innovative startup in California, or any kind of thing inside California it's happening, or solving climate change or waste management things, or you want to share some information about that?
Yes, I live in the heart of Silicon Valley, and the Silicon Valley has been a leader in technological innovation for the country and for the world. And this is changing. People are moving away from Silicon Valley into other locations because you find with high-speed internet connections, uh, it really doesn't matter so much where you live. But it's also the heart of the venture capital. Uh, and venture capital is that which gives you money to take your idea and manifest it into a reality. And you make it happen with money. And as the venture capital of the United States, the Silicon Valley um, has the go no go, the green light or red light on your project very, very often. Now, there is also angel investors, which are much more, they will get in earlier and take less, perhaps, than the venture capitalists will, because when you deal with the venture capitalists, you cede some control
Mhm,
of your project. And at some point, you may lose your project to them. This is a delicate balance. a
Hmm.
delicate dance. And if you're a good ballerina, you can dance it well. But if not, you can lose control of your idea. So you have to have some legal advice. You have to take some precautionary things. And but getting a patent is great, but getting a patent is expensive. And you need a patent lawyer, and the process is not a given. So these are the hurdles for entrepreneurs. They may have great ideas, great spirit, great, but do they have the money to execute on their idea, to make it marketable, to make it to market in the first place? So the source of the money becomes critical. The angel investment community is a little bit quicker and nimbler to invest in an idea, and will take less of your um, of the profits of your idea if you get profits. The other thing is, 70 to 90% of the startups fail. So are you prepared for failure? Can't are you have you thrown all in your life's investment into this one project, which is, the chances just tell you that you're likely to fail, more likely to fail than succeed. That's just the historic track record. So are you prepared to do that? Excuse me. Let me
Hmm.
silence this. And these are the types of things that you have to ask yourself before you get started. And these are the questions that no one teaches you to ask. So
Hmm.
this is the type of thing that I love being on your show, because other people who have never thought of this, never been taught to think about this, now they might think about it. They might think
Hmm.
about, do I have the capital? And you
Hmm.
almost always underestimate the amount of capital that you need to make your idea a reality. But is climate change um, part of the startups now? Yes. Is it well funded yet? No, because people that are entrenched in the bottom line quarterly report numbers. What are your earnings? What's the return on my investment? What are your earnings? So the climate change innovations that we're seeing now are not producing earnings at the rate that they will attract investment. So this is the bridge, and we will cross that bridge. We will make them profitable. But we had these problems with just solar panels. Solar panels were not a good investment um, in the early stages. They weren't efficient enough. Then they became more and more efficient. Then they became more and more profitable. And then people were willing to invest more and more money. So this is the thing. Don't get discouraged when your first attempt fails, your second attempt fails, but don't go all in on any one idea, because it's likely, if enough people work on this problem, that somebody will come up with a solution. It just may not be you, or your
Hmm.
solution might be great but not get adequately funded, and it may fail for that reason. So this is uh, you must go into this with your eyes open, and prepare yourself with your skill set, and amass the appropriate amount of capital so that you can get to market, and you can invest in marketing strategies so that people become aware that you have a solution. So these are complicated problems. These are not simple solutions, but we will get there because we have enough. Oh, this is just breaking my heart. But we will have enough because we have enough competency, we have enough compassion, and we have enough dedication to solve any problem that we face. Any problem is just before the solution that trails behind it.
Hmm. Hmm. That's really great. That's really good. Beside that example, actually, World Talent Economy Forum, we are trying to develop ourselves as a think tank. Uh, yes, we are a startup. We are really startup. So hopefully we will get enough support to continue our journey, and we will continue our all of the initiative. I do not know if you have any kind of advice about World Talent Economy Forum you can give. Even example, I know that waste management, maybe many of the people do not think too much, but this is important, because for these things many people has cancer, many people has disease, many people have uh, a lot of physicals, even mental problem, environmental pollutions. So
Yes.
Yes, this is a small problem, but we need to focus. Definitely we need to find out the solution for that, and we want to encourage the community, the youth community, the people, please focus on that particular area and find out the solutions. And I'm sure our panelists also help different global community to find out the solutions and make proper things. So what is your advice for the new startup, those who are trying to develop themselves as a problem solver for the local community?
Yes, I think there's a couple of things that I would like to focus on. And one is that if you're coming up with a novel solution to a problem that people are not aware of, you may have trouble attracting um, money. Other people's we may not value you for what you're doing. That's where your self-worth is paramount. You know you're doing the right thing. Keep at it. Do not be discouraged by others who do not see the value in what you're doing. So this takes some confidence. This takes some discipline. This takes some certainty of your own self-worth, your values. And this is also has to be balanced with, are you tilting at windmills? Are you imagining a problem that does not need solving? So sometimes we have to be objective about this. Is the feedback we're getting objectively telling us, no, we don't know have we have a solution, but it's not for a problem people think needs solving. So that is objective reality. It's good feedback to listen to. Pay attention to the feedback you're getting. Do not get discouraged by it. If you know in your heart it is true, follow your passion. Whatever your passion leads you, you will find out that you are happy following your passion. And if you get discouraged and don't follow your passion, you will lead a life of quiet desperation. And this is what many people do. Don't be one of the many, be one of the few who follows their passion. And if your passion is into the preservation of the planet, good for you. Do not get discouraged by any naysayers or any obstacle that you face, because there will be obstacles to face whatever you're trying to accomplish. Some of them will be very powerful forces that want you out of their sphere of influence, and you will run up against. So, pick your battles wisely. Don't fight a beast that has sharp teeth, claws, and you just have nothing but your ability to run away. Run away. So these are the things that you're going to face when you start up. But look at that picture. That is horrible. So what do we do? We have to think about, how do we solve these problems? Plastic islands in our oceans. Do you have that solution? Do you have something that will reduce our need for plastic? Do you have something that will be able to clean up plastic? Then this is valuable. Do not be discouraged. Continue to follow your passion, continue to follow your idea, even if you face obstacles, because obstacles will be there. You will have to overcome them. And not everyone can do this alone. I found that building a team around you, you can be more effective as a team than any individual can be on their own. Because if you're good at one thing, you might not be good at all the things that are necessary to take you to market to sell your product. And that might be, you're not a good accountant. You're not good at bookkeeping. Get someone who is, who buys into your values, buys into your passion. Maybe you don't have a law degree. Find someone who does, or has got good legal advice that you can get on board with, and then you'll get expert uh, input from reliable sources that buy into your passion, and build a team around you. And any team, if they're aligned, all the oars are pulling in the same direction, the boat will move. So that's my initial. But I also want to say one thing, Sharif. I just reminded myself. You know, we used to dump toxic waste from factories into our rivers, and people used to say, "That's okay. It's because the factory is producing jobs." But the plants, the flora and fauna downstream were getting cancer, were dying, were being poisoned. And people were saying, well, look at the consequences. Say, hey, I'm making jobs. I'm creating jobs. So there was a lot of resistance to changing that. And it wasn't until a river actually caught fire that there was enough groundswell of support for changing these things. And a river can't catch fire. Water boils, it does not burn. What was burning was what we were dumping in the rivers. This is a man-made problem, and it required the will, the political will of the people to change and say, hey, if you're going to dump toxic waste into our rivers, you will pay a steep price. And guess what? People didn't want to pay it. They stopped doing it. So this is the thing. It's something. Sometimes the awareness lags behind the reality, and we see it. We see the plastic in the water. Now,
Mhm,
what are we going to do about it? Summon the
mhm,
political will to do something about it.
mhm.
Thank you, Sri.
Yes, beside that, one thing I love to know, because uh, industry is a major factor for this waste and other things. What do you think? I love to know more about US situation. Definitely you are corporate person and you visit different corporations. What is the situation right now? Even though one of our audience, he know, hello sir, better world bank grant for such a nice project, but there must be a infrastructure inside country to maintain the idea, to make it proper way, the kind of delay flops and close some changes in entrepreneurs idea. Anyway, I think he like your idea on entrepreneurship, investment and other things. Yeah.
Well, there are the government can be part of the solution, and the governments are more in the United States. The government has become more um, aware of these problems. We had a period of time which we couldn't afford to waste, where we were in denial of these problems. There was no such thing as climate change. Jobs are more important than air quality. Jobs are more important than water quality. So we had this denial of the problems for 4 long years. Now we have a political administration that says, yes, these things are scientific facts, and we need to
Mhm,
deal with the science. And now we have some hope that if you do deal with the problems, so now the government is funding projects that they would not fund in the past. The previous government would fund things like the fossil fuel industry, which was a primary cause of some of this waste that was polluting the planet. So now we're not subsidizing them as much, and we're subsidizing at solutions to the problems that they have caused. And so this is a general it was just a fantastic change, but it was a very razor thin margin for keeping doing what we were doing or doing something completely different. Now, very fortunately, but by a razor thin margin, we have decided as a country, as a people, to move forward and accept science and to try to address the problems. And so now we're seeing things that are funded that were not funded in the past, recent past. So now we have hope that the ideas will be there. Even things like you're familiar with, Sharif, just think tanks, bringing brains together to think about these problems and to come up with solutions. And then to encourage the entrepreneurial spirit so that there can be an individual somewhere who comes up with a solution that no one has thought of anywhere. So these are both necessary. Governmental support for research, governmental support for investing. And if it requires infrastructure changes, then only the government is going to do the infrastructure changes. And perhaps that's part of the solution in terms of our long-term waste. And you see this man, Summit County, I'm not sure where that is, but this is a government funded. This is a municipally funded. This is something that society has said this is worthwhile to have a recycling project so that we can take our waste and collect it and then sort it and treat it appropriately. So these are things that the collective will of the people have decided is important. And that collective will of the people is not a given. You need to increase the awareness so that more and more people vote with their values instead of their wallets. And this is something that we all face, and we all have to be aware of it. And we all have to do things like appear on somebody's show and talk about it. And these are the small contributions. You have a given number of viewers, but all these viewers talk to the people around you, talk to the people who didn't watch us, and tell them. what you have learned. Tell them what you know, you now know. Treat science as science. And do not give in to the naysayers. Do not give in to the deniers. Press on, because you will face them. They will be there. Press on behind them. Convince as many people as you can. This is a problem, but it can be solved. Solutions follow problems. And
Mhm,
then there may be new problems to solve. Well,
mhm,
solve them as they come up. It's just like you set up the bowling pins, you knock them down, you set them up again, knock them down again. It's an endless project, but we can do it
mhm,
if we do it together
mhm.
as a team.
Yes, this is the good idea. Even we are actually working like we are trying to bring all of the important intellectual community like you from around the world, and we are doing different kind of brainstorming, discussing how we can figure out the solutions because we need to work together. We need to go for the teamworks and other things. So, like as we discuss on in like waste management area, what do you think how we can create more employment opportunity through the waste management solution?
That is a terrific question, Sharif. Because will there be a corporation that employs people to do waste management? Yes, we've seen some of that.
Mhm,
And these are jobs that didn't exist before we realized that waste management was a thing, something that we needed to do. Now, see, this is an entertaining video that you're putting up there. Kids could see this. Make it quick. Don't, the attention span that you have is not very long. So, make it quick, make it fun, and carry the message. So,
mhm,
this is a, good example. But the idea of creating jobs around this, there are jobs that we haven't yet imagined. Now, would you rather go into the earth and mine coal, get black lung disease, and die before your time? Or would you rather build solar panels? And would you rather be in the fresh air? Would you rather be working in a facility that was leading to solving the Earth's problems, or one that was leading to cause further problems? So these jobs did not exist 50 years ago. They exist today. So people did dive into the earth and mine 50 years ago, 150 years ago, but they don't have to anymore. If we need something in the earth, we can build robots to go down there. We don't need people to go down there and to die
mhm,
for our fossil fuels.
mhm.
And hello, Paul. It's good to see
Hello.
you.
Thank
Hi.
you, Mr. Paul, joining with us. We are actually discussing on waste management, but always I love to hear good news from you. What's the good news you want to share with us?
Well, waste management actually is good news. Our figuring out how to deal with waste management. Actually, my brother-in-law many years ago said, "Paul, if you want to buy a good stock here in America, and I'm not a buyer of stocks in general, period." He said, "You buy waste management." So Waste Management is a big company. I don't even know if they're still in business, but this was maybe 25, 30 years ago. I'll go right to the waste management because I think that's quite serious. It's serious for every community. And in America, I'll tell you, it's not good news in many respects, waste, because America, sort of recollect the commentary that America might have 5 times the amount of waste of other countries. This is
Mhm,
a country of plenty. I'm not happy about this subject personally. This is a country of not so much reduce, reuse, recycle. This is a country of let's buy some more.
mhm,
And so the good news, though, I will say, all right, is that I think that at least that's how we've been for many years. I think the younger generation, I mean, there's the old hippie types that were that kind of, they'll wear a pair of jeans until they're, two threads. But the younger generation, and I have a niece who's working actually with Amazon on recyclable products, a whole division with a company like that. And a company like that should definitely be on the forefront of waste management because of so much sales, so many boxes. I've only bought maybe one or two things there, and they send you a box. They got a little smarter now. Instead of sending ice packs that nobody can use unless they have a bad knee, they're giving you a free bottle of frozen water, okay, instead of an ice pack. Unfortunately, the frozen water is in a plastic bottle. All right, so then we got another level of environmental concerns, right? And we have that big plastic thing in the ocean. So I know you want some good news. Good news: we had a big election here in New York. The Democratic primaries, the primaries in New York here. So there's been a lot of money spent here on the media, not on this media. I put them on for free. And there has been some potential outcomes of a Democratic contender with Eric Adams here in this city. Eric, who I do know, who has actually been at my Peace Day events and has given me a declaration. So that's good news. And in the Republican Party, Curtis Sliwa, and Curtis is also has been on Good News many times, going way back to sex trafficking, going back to better peace here in the streets of New York. Actually, to be frank, I think it's going to be an interesting possibility, even though Eric is a former, if you don't mind me sharing this, a former president of the borough of New Brooklyn, and I've done 50 shows on him, okay, because my studio's in Brooklyn, was in Brooklyn. And he's done tons and tons of good things. And then there's Curtis Sliwa in the streets of New York with the Guardian Angels. So actually, this might even be more interesting than most people think. Possibility. In any case, I'd say New York overall, it's a no mask almost scenario here in New York. People are riding the subways. I got a buddy who's actually traveled around the world, just floated in on a boat for 1,152 days, reached Stowe. He's down on the pier, the Circle Line. He's trying to show how living life on water is possible. He did that some years ago. And I'd say, New York that's kind of a city where there's a lot of ingenuity, a lot of competition, and a lot of people doing lots and lots of good things. So you got me all wound up, but the fact is, back to waste management. We do it's not fully right for us for sending our garbage somewhere else unless they're able to figure out a better way to, and they are. I know taking tires and making them into clothing. I mean, there's a lot. Environmental issues is a very big subject for our Good News. We helped create the World Water Day. I have 100+ hours on water, environmental concerns, and the Start of Nature series on PBS. So it's a real. It's just like all these things. It's one joint here, and we all share it, and that's from the moon. And we need worldwide. Actually, it's today. Another interesting phenomenon, and I have a show on it, is the 75th anniversary of the United Nations. Okay, so with 193 countries that are working together / in whatever way they are to do the good in the world. So, and that seems to be our largest body of countries together to potentially do something if they can do something. So I think we have some opportunities. Just a question of the strength of the leaders of the way we segregated, in quotes, our Mother Earth, how to work together to make it a more livable planet for all.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you, Mr. James. Actually, Mr. Paul bring many interesting news for us. What do you want to add? Yes.
I would like to ask Paul, what do you think of Maya Wiley?
Well, I don't really know that much about her. I saw her. I did watch a little bit of her. Actually, last night probably was the most. I sort of stay out of the whole political scenario because,
Okay.
people can. For me, I'm just doing my good news. That's my scenario. If I
Yeah.
get to interview Miley, then that's fine. But she spoke very nicely last night, and her. I don't know if she conceded or anything, but I just did listen to her. I listened to three people last night. I listened to Yang, who I did a 2-hour press conference for, Eric Adams and his speech, and I was actually quite happy with Eric and what he said. And Miley had some nice things to say as well. There's some good
Yeah,
people.
the reason I asked this question is because I did vote for Yang in the primaries for the presidency. These are people that I think are looking ahead, because I think we're better off looking in through the windshield rather than the rearview mirror, and hope for a past that never really existed. It only existed in our imaginations or on TV shows. We faced with a future. We face a future. That has challenges, but we have to have confidence. The good news I hear is optimism, and you have to have confidence that you can achieve these things. That there's nothing that's in our way that we cannot deal with. This is the thing that I want the young, especially because when I grew up, I was carrying a sign that said "Make love, not war" before I had done either one of them. We had this confidence that we could change society. And this is something I want to see in the youth now. Have confidence that you can make change. And if you need a skill set, go out and acquire it. And don't wait to be taught. Teach yourself. There's so many resources out there to learn what you need to learn to be effective in today's world, to have marketable skills. Someone will pay you for these skills, but also use your values to judge what is it that I want? What do I want to do? Do I want to learn how to mine coal? Probably not. Do you want to learn how to make solar panels more efficient? Perhaps you do. Whatever it is, do you want to find a way to treat water so that it's drinkable, where it was toxic before and now it's drinkable? Water is a crisis. It's a shortage now, but capitalist society depends on scarcity. It's not going to be able to charge you if it's something is abundant. It's only going to charge you if it's scarce. Now, should water be scarce? Water is life. So come on, let's think of how we can be a better society, a more just society, how we can be together on this planet that we all share, and how to make it sustainable and stop poisoning it. There's no upside to poisoning the planet. So these are the things that we want. Can we reduce the air pollution? Yes. Can we treat the air pollution? You have a guest, Sharif, from British Columbia. She's got a scientific product that can
Mhm.
treat the, the collection of carbon in the air. So these things can be done. Whatever problem we have, the solution is just behind it on its heels. So have confidence and keep your values in line with your skill set and change your society.
Mhm. Mhm.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Paul, I think you want to add more point on
Well, I just
value addition.
James, that's wonderful, and you're one darn positive guy, just like Sharif, and that's wonderful. That's why I wanted to. I'm sorry I'm late. I wanted to get on here. I like the people that are speaking here. You know, uh, I'm a marketing major. I started accounting as a marketing, and then I got a master's in communications. But it's like, and then I wanted to show business, but there's the second word after show is business. Okay. And so, I think waste management is business. I think
Mhm.
air pollution is business. And to succeed uh, in business, that is a world issue. In other words, the pollution in the ocean here affects the pollution in the ocean say, in China, right? I mean, it's one world. So
Mhm,
uh, issues of international, let's call it, concern, in essence, really do need that international overview. Now, even when we have these summits, which I also don't pay a real lot of attention to, the G7, G6, Davos, and things, I still don't see. That's why I brought the UN up, and I don't know. I don't see a worldly approach. Okay,
mhm,
I still see competition as part of the approach. Or China's going to do their thing, and this one's going to do that thing. But unfortunately, the pollution from China comes here, and the pollution from America goes to China. So I've always been under the agreement or thought of we need a one world. Actually, my company's called Milestone Broadcast, a one world company. And I have pictures of yellow person, red person, brown person, black person, and white person, or whatever variations of colors of humanity. We're one person. We're one Homo sapien, and I don't know. So what? So what I was going to ask James, do you have any thoughts? How can we run this planet better for all?
mhm. Thank you, Mr.
Well,
Shankar.
yeah.
He's our new friend. He's joined in World Talent Economy Forum. Thank you for joining today. So, how do you want to introduce this problem, waste management, and if you want to share your background with our audience and with our speakers? Yes.
Thank you, Professor Sharif. I just got to know about the whole forum, and it's incredible for me to see such a forum exist. I didn't realize it. I'm part
Thank
of
you.
an organization called Global Chamber, and we are aligned. Besides doing trade, we are aligned to the 17 US UN SDGs, and my area of interest basically is to bring trade as a way of solving the world's unsolvable problems. And to be aligned to that level, we bring technologies, we bring opportunities, and we bring high profile connection to figure out a way forward. For example, when you talk about climate, we have technologies that help that, but that's not enough. We need to be aligned as nations, as what you mentioned just now. We need to be aligned as human beings. We have all the wherewithal, frankly speaking, at various levels within the innovations, within the opportunity to create. At the same time, there are many interventions that come that I just feel that people are not aligned. They have vested interests. They want to make it happen, but they talk something else. So my understanding at this stage today, I'm just gotten. I just want to understand and see how we can bring resources. And the fundamental point is to connect the dots that align with the vision that Professor Sharif shared with me briefly. And I'm here to see how we can all team up. I'm based in Ahmedabad, India, and our networks are very strong. We work with universities, we work with the private sector, we work with the ministry. But having said that, we need to be one voice and see how we can augment this whole possibilities. And I will just be an observer today so that I can get a feel of how things are. But I'm sure in the future, I'll bring more resources and people of great repute on this platform. That's what I'm looking to do. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Definitely, World Talent Economy Forums also want to collaborate with us. Even we have our Peace TV. He's a president for him. We have James Eat Foundations, Mr. James, and different intellectual personality from Ivy League, from uh, even US governments and different media, even think tank, policymakers, corporations. We are working together and we work as a team. And I saw how even yesterday session I declared that December we have a conference and summit. It's one of the largest conference in Malaysia based on AI. They are also organizing, and this is very good initiative for developing nations. Especially, we have to go for uplifting different corporation right now in COVID-19 situation. Even World Talent Economy Forum, we are also engaged with these uplifting activities. But definitely, we need more teamwork and more people, those who can work together, team up together, and more. We want more positive change in the society. So thank you, Mr. Shankar, for your beautiful comments and joining in World Talent Economy Forum. And I directly want to go for the concluding remarks for today. uh, I want to start for Mr. James Seed, then
Yeah.
our honorable speaker Mr. Paul, and finally Mr.
Yeah.
Shankar. So Mr. James Seed, what's your concluding remarks today?
Okay, for concluding remarks, I have a different background. Because we have been building walls between us for far too long, and we need to tear down the walls and build bridges. We need to think about one people and one world, and one world is right now we're poisoning that world, and we need to stop. And if you think it's too big a problem for you, you're just another brick in the wall. Any little contribution that you can make will make a difference. Because if one
Yes.
person does one thing, it may not matter. But if a million people do the same thing, it starts to matter. And you start with yourself and then influence others in your sphere of influence. And then they influence others. And who knows where that ends. So start with yourself, get your values aligned. Think about yourself as part of the species, Homo sapien, and living on the planet Earth. Because it turns out that the environment is stronger than the individual. And the environment, maybe this COVID pandemic is just the environment's way of saying we're the virus and it's trying to get rid of us. So this is a way to think about the world. And it's how precious it is and how precious our lives are and how fleeting our lives are. And so take care of it, be good stewards of the planet Earth. And that means do well, do no harm. And these are the things that we have to have as values and to treat each other. We did, Paul mentioned hippies. I don't know when, but hippie became a 4-letter word, but there were so many great values. And that was like, smile on your brother. Everybody get together. Got to love one another right now. And that's what we need to get back into. But we have become a consumer oriented system, and we want to consume, we want to take, we don't want to get back. We don't care about others. This is the mindset that so many tell you is. And we have different countries that have different experiences because they have different microenvironments. And you grow up in the former Soviet Union, and you told on your neighbor before your neighbor could tell on yourself. And so then they think that's human nature. No, that's not human nature. That's the environment changing the humans. And so you have a freer society, then people can help each other. And we've seen that in community after community, but usually on a small localized scale. We have to think of it now as a global scale. How do we get that community mindset that we're all in this together? We're all one. And when we accomplish that, then we will not be faced with any challenge that we cannot overcome. Because I believe in the human spirit, and I do believe in the ingenuity that any problem that we face, we will find a solution to it. I have confidence, and I want to inspire others, especially the young, because you can change society. Don't think you cannot. Do not give up when you're faced with adversity. Keep going, persevere. These are the characteristics of the self-discipline. And it's get the skill set that you need to make a change, because you can do it. I'm here to tell you that because I did it, and I left you with a mess, cleaned it up. Thank you.
Mhm. Thank you, Mr. Paul.
Fine.
Okay, James is that, giving me some. We've have focused on actually. I have a project. It's called. I'll just share it because it's a project for all. Called Woodstock Forever: Peace, Love, and Hope. I did the 20th anniversary of Woodstock with Richie Havens here in New York. I was given Central Park and PBS to broadcast. And so I have now a movie that I'm bringing out, that I've been bringing out since 1989. So, the in my mind, what I have to kind of get back to the management, the business, or the manage. If there's a way, I don't know if the UN is the way. if that is our largest body of countries, I believe it to be so. To take it to maybe another level of management, I also have thought about, I always said Mother Teresa should run the world, and I also thought Gandhi, our heroes that said to this world that are peaceful beings. And I also, I'll throw it out there that I always thought women should, a man does one thing and the women are known to be the homekeepers and housekeepers. And we're on a house here. We're on the house of Earth. And so I don't know. All I know is that being in the Good News Broadcast seed and Planet Seed, there are millions and millions of people, just like John Lennon said, that are peaceful people. I am very optimistic of the world, and that there's a few that are confused enough to either take from you or hurt you or kill you. But the majority of the 8 billion are kind, giving, loving, caring people. I'm 100% in belief of that mindset. Okay. The world, in essence, I don't have my pen, is at peace. And if it wasn't at peace, man would not have continued on all these years. Okay. We would have eaten each other, as sick as that might sound, but we didn't. And we're not, we're here still, maybe arguing, maybe trying to figure out how to survive. That's why people go into business to survive, to feed their family, to put a roof over their head, or whatever they can do. I think there is something out there that's larger than what we have, and maybe some. I don't like breaking down what we have created, say a UN after 75 years of some establishment. I mean, if they could figure it out how they could really get some power to administer the 17 SDG. I've dealt with the 30 millennial goals, and I've been involved with the UN for 50 years. And so I don't know, but I do know the optimistic scenario is that we're here for better world. And one of the biggest opportunities we have is this guy here. This little phone can go everywhere in the world unless they don't let it in that town. But they let it in pretty much everywhere. They might not let YouTube everywhere. They might not let Facebook there. And there has been some. We just got to get those leaders, those people that do have those billion people. It's a question mark about how effective they are, to be on the peace page and the world page and care, in essence, about our brotherhood and sisterhood. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to be here, Sharif, and it's a pleasure to
Thank
speak
you.
with all of you.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Shankar, what's your concluding remarks today?
I'm totally aligned to the talks that we had just now. And I think I heard something that says from ego to eco. We need to move from people's ego into building this ecosystem. And that means we need to be so aligned. And what we have missed out in all these years is this transition that we are making. At one level, I feel what has happened is just a reminder, just a kind of a poke that says, we better get our act together and really focus on what runs this world, which is the environment. The little individual can make a difference, provided we all get aligned and we have total inclusion in our consciousness, and then we can bring it all together. And technology is something we brought in. You can't have something bigger than us, but we can use the technology. We can use our intelligence, but we can accelerate the whole process. And that's what we are looking at today. And so my point is, there are many aspects to the jigsaw puzzle. It's a cosmic joke, and we need to be very, very light about it in a way that we are intelligent, compassionate, and bring in compassionate capitalism. We are making money, we are doing things great for all of us together as one, as we already know, the world is turning out to be that. It's taking some time. It's like the 100th monkey phenomenon, where we have to have that impact as, what's the word for it? A critical mass of people. The good force need to come together. And that's a conversation. And that's where we need to figure out the thinking that has gotten us to where we are today is insufficient to go beyond. So I think that the new talent needs to be tapped in, not laughed at, and not said that that will not work by the people who have gone through, because we need a new set of organs to perceive what is coming, to see things which we could not see before. It's there. We need to access that intelligence and be so fine-tuned and so refined from inside that we can learn the language. And that language is what we are trying to address, I think, over here, by looking at talent, appreciating, encouraging, accelerating, give it all that we got to make that difference, to make that world a better place, as we already know, but not just for a few, but for everyone, without anybody left out. That's who we are, and that's what our stand is. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Shankar. Thank you, Mr. Paul and Mr. Jamesid. World Talent Economy Forums, as a think tank, we are developing step by step. Still, we are growing. So you people are experienced. You can support us, you can guide us, and you can help us and how we can grow together. And we have only one objective. We want to build up all of the futuristic thoughts and with our generations. And for the global citizens, and the futuristic thought is very important, and we need heroes. When the youth community, they thinks that I want to develop myself like Mr. Shankar, I want to develop myself like Mr. Paul, I want to develop myself like Mr. James, that is the way of changing. When I started my career as a lecturer in the universities, my professor always said, do not try to teach students know that what they have to do. This is very common job for a teacher. But the main job to you, you have to create a good dream for them. So you people are the hero for World Talent Economy Forums. You are the futuristic thoughts, and your experience is very, very valuable for the global community and the youth communities. So we always introducing new hero from World Talent Economy Forums, and they are already changed their society, and they can change human lives as well. Thank you, Mr. Paul. Thank you, Mr. Shankar, Mr. James Eid, for your brilliant support for World Talent Economy Forum. Thank you. Bye-bye and take care.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. Thanks
Bye.
again, Sharif.